everybody. So today is Monday and that means it's time for family movie night. And this is a series that I do every week where I pick a film that is available for Netflix stream that will be a fun film to watch with your family. And some of my picks are better for older kids and some of them are better for little kids. And so I try to give some variety depending on the type of family that you have. And this week, being the week of Halloween, I thought it would be fun to pick one more horror movie, scary movie that is underrated, I think, and that I think is family appropriate. That many scary movies and horror movies that I like. I'm pretty picky when it comes to that. I don't like anything that makes me feel uncomfortable or gives me nightmares or anything like that. But I do appreciate a well-made movie in any genre, and I think today's is certainly an example of such a film. And it is called The Others. And this was a film made in 2001 by Alejandro Amenabar. And this was really a one-man show. This movie is pretty incredible. Like, he directed it, he wrote it, and he even did the music, which is impressive. This movie stars Nicole Kidman, and it's about this woman in post-World War II. And she lives in this big house with her two kids. And at the beginning of the film, she has just hired 3 new servants. And one of them is a mute, and there's something a little bit creepy about them, but we don't know. And her and the kids start to hear voices and things that are troubling, and they don't know where her husband is. And you start sort of putting the different clues together as the movie goes along. I don't want to spoil anything. But this movie does so many things well. It has, like, at its heart, a really wonderful story. It's really a mystery about this woman, her husband, the war, her house, and it deals with so many grown-up themes. It's not just like cheap thrills. It deals with themes of faith, and that if we believe in the angelic, then we also believe in the demonic. And it definitely kind of points out the dichotomy that we have. And, because she's like a practicing Catholic, and so you see sort of the conflict between I believe in, she believes in spirits, but does she believe in these spirits? And what are these spirits trying to tell her? And what do we know about her life? And is she a good mother or is she a bad mother? And this movie is really quiet for a horror film. Like, there aren't big scares as far as like jump scares and things like that, but it's so tense and it builds and builds and builds and builds. And I think it uses music perfectly, and it is so beautifully shot and beautifully made. I mean, there's a lot of films that people will say, oh, it could be a Hitchcock, or it's an homage to Hitchcock, but I think this actually is worthy of that kind of praise. I really do. I think that you could see Grace Kelly in this role back in the Hitchcock days. It uses a lot of the things that we see in a lot of other horror movies, as far as the haunted house and the spirits and the kids, like the scary kids things. A lot of those things can be so groan-inducing, but here it's done so well, and there's an artistry to it, and there's a mystery to it. And a lot of people, for me, I think this is a much better film than The Sixth Sense, even though I don't think The Sixth Sense is a bad movie. But for me, this film is a lot more rewatchable than The Sixth Sense, because once I knew the big twist in Sixth Sense, I didn't think the movie was as good. I watched it again, and it didn't hold my interest as well, because I kind of knew this. I don't think the story was as compelling as the twist was compelling. Whereas the story is compelling. It's about this woman and her sanity and being in this house. And the kids, I forgot to say, the kids have this photo sensitivity, so they can't be exposed to any sunlight. And so that kind of makes her even more like boxed in and closed. So kind of has elements of The Shining, it has elements of The Exorcist, has elements of Amityville Horror. Like, it just has all of these classic things, but it does it so well. And you get just this sense of darkness and this sense, but then there's the spirituality, so there's the sense of light. Nicole Kidman is great in this film. Like, she is the sort of her porcelain kind of look that she has now, which is unfortunate, I feel like really works for this part because she's supposed to be kind of porcelain. She's supposed to be kind of fragile, but like elegant and delicate. And so she's really good in the part. The kids are good. All the other supporting cast are good. And it's just, like I said, it's beautifully made. Like there's just an artistry to the way the house is shot, the way outside the house is shot, things like there's a great scene where she goes into a room and she's just kind of looking around and you just see the outline of one of the faces in the paintings. And she sort of moves away and it gets, and that outline kind of focuses in. And you're like, I don't know what that means, but now I'm really curious. And so that's what it does such a good job about. And I thought that the ending really worked. And it's definitely very chilling, very scary, but it's not gory. It's, as far as like adult content, it is rated PG-13, but I think it's pretty tame. There's one scene that has some sensuality, but it's, I think, pretty tame. There's no language and there's no like blood or gore of any kind. So I think it's a mild PG-13 in my book, at least. Alejandro Amenabar not only did a great job directing it with beautiful imagery that he creates, but also he did a really good job with the screenplay too. Like one of my favorite lines in the film is when their character says, "There isn't always an answer to everything," which is really scary. Like that's scary, you know, that we're talking about these themes of faith and faith and fear and you know, what if there isn't an answer? What if we don't know? What if, you know, so I think that really is good. And I felt like the way that the characters talk is very believable and authentic to the characters. And it's such a tight movie. It's I think an hour and 49 minutes, but there really doesn't, to me, there's not a wasted scene. There's not a scene where I'm like, why do we need this character? And I don't feel manipulated. Like sometimes I feel certainly feel in the bad Shyamalan films, but I sometimes feel even in his good films, I feel a little bit manipulated. But in this film, I just feel like this is a really good story and I'm really interested in it. So that is my thoughts on The Others. Have you seen The Others? What did you think of it? Did you think it was scary? Did you think it was well done? I'd be curious for your thoughts. What's a horror film that you feel like isn't too scary and that's one that like a family could watch together? Put in the comments section, let me know, and thanks so much. I'll talk to you later. Bye.